Hey y'all, Hestia's Helper here, and sorry, we are going to be making something today. Excuse my hands. I don't wear any rings whenever I'm working on stuff in case it might get in there and mess up the rings. And on Saturdays and Sunday mornings, I leave my nails bare so they can kind of breathe a little bit. But anyway, so before we get into our craft today, I just wanted to say that I just wanted to explain my "you are all the magic that you need" that I tell you guys because I don't want there to be any misconceptions about the intention that I have behind it. So, in the community, there's a lot of gatekeeping and there's a lot of misconceptions as well. A really popular thing right now is it's all about intention. It's all about intention. And I do believe that magic comes down to just a few simple things. It's intention, it's faith, and it's knowledge. So when I say you are all the magic that you need, what I mean is all of these things that we get in our subscription boxes or all of the tools that are available to us through various online websites. I know not everyone is blessed enough to be able to bring those into their workings, and I want you to know that they're not necessary. Yes, they make things easier. They make it easier to focus your intention. It makes it easier to direct your energy. But they're not necessary. And you have within you power, and you utilize that to the best of your extent. You use what you have, and some of us are really good at being able to focus our intent and put our energy into something without the extra little pretty bits and baubles. And some of us are not. Some of us need those things to kind of help us direct where our energy and our intention is going. Sorry, getting a little thirsty. So when I say that you are all the magic that you need, I'm just saying that what's within you is enough for your purpose at the time. And if you are trying to do something that is beyond what's inside of you, then maybe it's not really something that you need. And that just the universe is saying, hey, you're not ready for this. But you can grow, and I think it is important to practice your magic without all of the extra stuff sometimes, because that's how we grow inside, and that's how we become more powerful and more focused and better able to utilize what we've got. So that being said, let's do this. Bear with me. I am not good at instruction. I am too entirely scatterbrained for that. So I'm going to try to walk you through my process and what I do. And as we do this, I want you to keep in mind that this is what works for me. This is how I do things. It's not necessarily how you're going to do it. It's not necessarily going to be the same items that you use. It's not necessarily going to be the same method that you use. But I wanted to go over today how to make cascarilla chalk. Cascarilla is used for protection, and it's ground up eggshells. And here's the little jar of what I have. I'm making more today because I go through a lot of eggs. It is just for me by myself. It's nothing for me to go through 3 dozen eggs a month easily. I make breakfast burritos on the weekends to get me through the week. So there's 2 dozen eggs a month. I do a lot of baking. There's always eggs in that. I like hard-boiled eggs just to keep on hand for a quick little snack. So I have an abundance of eggs. I want to point out that, well, it probably looks pretty white in there, but my cascarilla is not your cookie cutter cascarilla that you can buy in a metaphysical shop. Mine will never be white. Most of my eggs are gifted to me. And even when I do have to purchase eggs, I buy the cage-free eggs, which are usually the brown shell variety. So my cascarilla is always going to have a bit of brown in there. So preparing your cascarilla. I have a few unpopular opinions about how I do mine. If you look it up online, it's going to tell you, first of all, you gather your eggshells, right? And if you look it up online, or maybe even in a spell book or something somewhere, it's going to tell you to remove the membrane from inside of the egg before you begin to do your cascarilla. I don't do mine like that, and I'll tell you why. First of all, that is some labor intensive shit right there. Like I do not have the time or the patience for that. And I know that in doing so, I'm going to be putting an intention like there's just going to be frustration infused into those eggshells. These are not eggshells that I'm going to be consuming. I know some people will crush up eggshells and add it to various things for the calcium content. I'm not eating these eggshells, so there's no reason for me to remove that membrane. And I justify my point by pointing out eggshells are extremely porous, okay? And we are making the cascarilla as a protection barrier to help bless and sanctify our homes and keep things out. So when you remove that membrane, I feel, and you don't have to agree with me. If you don't, that's great, that's grand and wonderful. I feel that you are removing that added layer of protection. It's going to get chopped up into dust anyway. I think it's unnecessary to remove that. So moving on, you take your eggshells and you rinse them off before you store them. And when you're ready, you've got them and you put them in water and you boil them. I like to use a big stock pot, and I only fill the stock pot half full of eggs and then cover them with water. And I like to boil them for about 10 minutes or so. And then after that, you're going to drain them, and you're going to put your oven on 200 degrees, and you're going to lay your eggshells on a cookie sheet or a couple of cookie sheets, however many you need. And then you're going to put them in the oven, and you're going to let them dry at 200 degrees for about an hour, because you want zero moisture in your eggshells. And then after that, you bring them out, you let them cool, and they're ready for you to grind them, crush them, whatever. Now you can just crush them up by hand. You can put them in a little plastic baggie and use a rolling pin and go over them and crush them that way. You can crush them in your mortar and pestle, and if you want to feel it. I like the easy way of stuff. So I have this spice / coffee grinder that I no longer use because the brand of coffee that I drink now, I can't find it anywhere in whole bean form. So I put mine in a coffee grinder and grind them up. And I will say that if you use this method, when you grind it, make sure that you've got something covering it, because you can see it, the powder gets everywhere. It does come out. And even though it's boiled and even though it's dried and whatnot, I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty dang sure that it's not good for your lungs to breathe in eggshell dust. So try to avoid that at all costs. You can wear a mask if you want to, whatever you need to do. So, cascarilla, the powder, a lot of us are familiar with, and this is great on its, see, I don't know if you saw, but even just when I brought that up, like there was a poof come up because it's very finely ground. So the powder itself, it's good for just sprinkling around your door frame, on your windowsills, just in various areas. You can cast a circle with it. It's just good for protection. Now, I keep some loose. I like to put it in spell jars. I mix a little bit of it into whenever I make my witch's salt for that added extra layer of protection. Like the powder stuff is great. I try to keep some on hand at all times. Like I said, even though I'm making more today, this is still a pretty good bit in my jar. But the chalk, the chalk is a lot of times what you see in the metaphysical shops that comes in the like the fast food restaurant ketchup containers. It's great for using to draw your sigils on things. It's chalk, and it's done in you do it in such a way that it can be kind of like a hidden protection. You can put a sigil on things and it not really show up because it's not a real brightly colored chalk unless you make it so, as far as the white and how hard you press and whatnot. So you can use it for all kinds of things. Again, casting circles, you can literally draw a circle around whatever it is that you're working on and use it that way. Just whatever you would want to use a magical chalk for, you can use your cascarilla chalk. So preparing to make it, again, this is just what I do. Feel free to add or take away whatever resonates with you. So before I do any type of magical working or magical baking or anything where I know I'm going to want magic involved, I keep this this little spice jar, this repurposed spice jar. I love when spices come in these glass jars because I can reuse them for stuff. But it's got salt and rosemary in it, and I keep this by my kitchen sink. And this is what I used to cleanse my hands with. I just pour a little bit in there and give my hands a good washing with, of course, soap, and then with the salt and rosemary. And that's to prepare my hands for work. Okay, and the ingredients are going to be. You need 1 teaspoon of flour, okay? The flour is going to kind of help make it gummy. And then 1 teaspoon of liquid. So in here I've got, it's water infused with clove, cinnamon, and rosemary. So some extra protection that I've put in here. And then you're going to need 1 tablespoon of the crushed eggshells. Oh, I forgot. So I also have an incense burning over here. It's an incense for protection. So I've got that burning and just adding that to the Magick in my workspace. I've also cleaned my workspace with a wash that I use. It's got rosemary and hyssop in it, and I just put that in a spray bottle, and I've cleansed the area with it. Okay, so 1 teaspoon of flour, and then we've got 1 tablespoon of crushed eggshells. That is powdering up everywhere. And this is going to seem like a very dry mixture, but that's great because it's going to be chalk, which is not wet, you guys. You need it to be dry. So then we've got 1 teaspoon of our liquid. You can also use, whatever herbs you want to infuse your liquid with. If you have whatever intentions you want to put in there, you could use Florida water if you have it on hand. That would be really good to put in here. You can use, I wouldn't use a full mix of an oil. I would kind of like take your teaspoon and put a couple of drops of an intention oil that you want to put in there, and then the rest water, because you need the water consistency. You need it to be that that liquidy. So we've got this in here, and it's getting all mixed up, right? And it's gonna have like a sandy texture, and that's good. That's what you want. So now, once we've got this all mixed up, and I'm just using like a little a butter knife. I like the way it mixes and how I can fold it in, and that's my preference for mixing this. And you can make as big or as small of a batch as you want. Just remember, for every tablespoon of eggshells, you've got 1 teaspoon flour, 1 teaspoon of your liquid. So now we're going to form it. You can hand roll these into the little tubes. You can pack them down and make like actual sticks. Very labor intensive. I did that with my last batch, and I'm like, whew, no. I'm actually trying to look and see if maybe at a thrift shop, or I know they're not expensive. I want those like the water bottle ice cube molds, so it makes the tube and I can pack it down in there easier. So that's an option. And you can pack it into whatever type of mold that you want, if you want to get, a little decorative with it. But today I'm just got these little mini baking cups that I'm going to use, and I feel like that's a good size. And we're just gonna put some in there. The shape's it's kind of got busted up a little bit. My little crystal spoon that I got in I think I got it in a Mindful Souls box. But I like to use her every now and then. I'm just going to put a scoop in there, and then I'm going to put it inside this cup, because when I start packing it down, if I don't have a form around the paper cup, it's just going to flatten it out, and I want it to build up eventually. Then I've got my little, my wax stamp seal, and that's just what I'm going to use to get it packed in there. And then a little bit more, and pack it down some more. Make sure to get it pack down in there real good. See, it's starting to spread out because this isn't exactly the size that I need. I have a shot glass that I was using. It has a flat bottom at the bottom because, you know, glasses sometimes have that curve, but it was perfect. And it has gone missing. So I'm not quite sure what happened. I'm going to do one more in here. I'm just going to pack it down again. So again, just however, oh, I got a little off there. So if it moves, just kind of move with it. Just make sure that she's getting a little wobbly here. Just make sure you get it packed down in there well. And if everything doesn't stick, whenever we're ready to take these out, you can just add it to the next batch. Okay. So that's good. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to find another shot glass like that, or even a mini muffin mold. Or muffin mold, a little mini muffin tray. I had one, but when I moved, I downsized. Every time I move, and I've moved quite a bit a lot. And listen to me, I've moved quite a bit in my life, and I always, anything that I haven't used in a year, I leave behind. I gift it to somebody, or I donate it. And I try to do that every year. Go through my house, and anything that I haven't done or used in a year, you can get rid of. It's very difficult for me to do because I come from a family of hoarders. And we're always like, oh, I might need that, or, you know, that might be worth money someday, or, and I'm not going to say that there hasn't been times that I have gotten rid of stuff, and then I kid you not, 2 months later, I'm like, oh, I need this, and, well, I know I had one. Well, shit, I gave it away, got rid of it. It happens. Then you gotta go buy a new one, and it's so frustrating because it's money that I didn't have to spend that money. Okay. And that one, good and packed down in there. And we got enough for this last one here. So once you get these in your molds, or however it is that you're doing it. Oh my goodness, did you did you guys hear my stomach growl? It is time for breakfast. You guys will be watching this video after lunch because of my internet connection, but once we get these packed down in here and they're ready, you're going to need to let them dry for at least 3 days. If you're just air drying them, I haven't tried to put them in a dehydrator or dry them in the oven or anything like that. Just because I trust the process, and 3 days in a well-ventilated area where there's good airflow and it's not super humid, I feel like that's a good time for it to get out all the moisture. So 3 days, let it air dry before it's ready for use. Oh, I just hit that with my head. I've been working on the Christmas cards to get out for Stacy's card exchange, and also been working on my secret sister Yule gift, as well as some other just gift crafts that I'm working on. And I got a really good start on things yesterday, but I have this bad habit of, okay, so this is what I'm going to do for the day. And I know that I have these plans, right? And then I'll sit down. As long as I'm moving and it keep in motion, then everything's great. I can get everything done that I need to do. But the second I sit down, I'm like, okay, I'm done for the day. And then end up not doing shit. Okay. So, with our tablespoon of eggshells, we have made 3 little cascarilla chalk discs. And I apologize for showing kind of like a subpar version to y'all, because this is usually mine are they're smaller with they stay the baking cup size, because I had that shot glass that was just the perfect size to get them done. But that's okay. Like I said, anything that doesn't form and doesn't stick, I can add to the next batch. But 1 tablespoon, and I got 3 little chalk discs. So anyway, you guys comment down below. Let me know if you make these, anything that you do differently. Like I said, this is just my way of doing it. And I'm always interested in seeing how other people do their stuff, and so we can learn from each other and be like, oh yeah, I like that. I want to add that to the way that I do mine. So let me know how you do yours. And if you don't, if this is something that you haven't done before, I highly encourage it. 2 of the little disc things at my local at a metaphysical shop that I go to, 2 of the little ketchup containers is $3.50. And honestly, this is really easy to do. You just have to put the time into it. And so I feel like that's an unnecessary expenditure. But if you would rather purchase them, then hey boo, you do you. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And until next time, just remember, you are all the magic you need. Bye. Love y'all.